The Spurs have done it again, making another sneaky signing as we dive into the truth behind the signing of Jordan McLaughlin and how it impacts the Spurs moving forward after the other moves that Brian Wright has made, including Kelly Olynyk. We have to dive into what this means for the Spurs' future and how, in particular, it implicates Dylan Harper and the young core of the San Antonio Spurs. But on that same note with Dylan Harper, we have a bit of an unfortunate update, a lot of stuff we got to dive into coming up on this episode of Spurs Digest, and we'll start with our boy Dylan Harper. Oh, I know. You guys have probably saw this last night. Maybe you did. Maybe you're waking up, you're seeing this video, you're taking a look this morning, excited for the debut of Dylan Harper in Summer League, but it's not to be. Don Harris, Dylan Harper will miss tomorrow's Las Vegas Summer League game with a minor groin issue. He's expected to make his debut against Cooper Flagg and the Dallas Mavericks on Saturday. Now, this sucks. I've been waiting. I've been doing the countdown for Dylan Harper to play for so long now. Like a matter of days I've been counting down, at least 3 days. I don't know how I'm going to go on forward without Dylan Harper playing tonight, but you know what? It's okay because we will see him go up against Cooper Flagg, and you have to assume he'll be going up against Ace Bailey as well. And regardless, tonight, VJ Edgecombe's not even playing for the 76ers, so it's like, whatever, nothing really going on. No Dylan Harper, that's fine. We'll have to wait till Saturday. But as much as that is a bit of a disappointment, I wanted to dive into some recent quotes that have been coming out about Dylan Harper, some stuff he said, something Carter Bryant said, because I think it's very, very interesting moving forward. Yeah, we want to see him play, but I think this other stuff is more important. Now, you guys may realize that I am a huge Manu Ginobili fan. He is my favorite basketball player in the history of the sport. Not ashamed to admit that. I don't know who would be ashamed to admit that. In fact, you should be ashamed if he's not your favorite player. That's not true. We all have our own favorites. He is mine, though. But here, we have Dylan Harper saying this, saying, I talked to Manu the most, more about just the game and the speed and just how he adapted to it. I've hung out with Ginobili every day since I've been here. I'm just picking his brain and just asking him questions. And to me, how could you get a more perfect mentor? Like, I know their styles are a little bit different, but Dylan Harper is such a good slasher getting to the rim. That was Manu's specialty. I mean, we watched Manu be so crafty in the lane throughout his whole career. I watch his highlights basically daily, and just knowing that Dylan Harper, again, another lefty as well, which is kind of cool, is going to come off the bench. He's wearing 2 instead of 20. I'm just saying, the similarities are there. To be able to learn from Manu, the change of pace that Manu had is something Dylan Harper also really has. I think you really couldn't design a better mentor for him. And you know what? Hey, Dylan, if you're not playing, you got a minor groin issue. Hey, that's fine. Keep working out with Manu. Keep learning as much as you can from him. This is why it's a Spurs family. This is why we saw so many people so sad to see Branham and especially Blake Wesley leave. We saw those posts from Stephon Castle and Jeremy Sochan on Instagram being upset that their buddies are leaving, but it's a family, past and present and future, all coming together right now with Dylan Harper, with Manu Ginobili. This is amazing, but there's also one little note from Carter Bryant I wanted to share, and it's a really cool quote, and I took this from Casey Vieira here on Twitter, but I watched the video, and it is what he says. He basically talks about how Dylan Harper has been a winning player from a young age, right? They keep tabs on each other, they know each other, and he said Dylan's always had winning teams, but the big quote here from this said he knows how to cultivate a winning culture, and it is very interesting. A shout out to Casey for this tweet, because they keep an eye on each other, but for him to know about Dylan Harper, how he leads his team, talks about how Dylan Harper's been a leader throughout his whole basketball career so far, how he gets the other guys to want to win with him. That is such an important aspect for Spurs basketball, and it's, again, not that there was really any question that the Spurs were going to draft Dylan Harper at number 2, but this should alleviate basically any questions about why he fits into the Spurs culture. If you guys even still had them at this point, I don't think anyone does. I think we're all thrilled about it, but yeah, I mean, just amazing stuff coming out about Dylan Harper. Just to alleviate that pain a bit of him not playing tonight, we have this amazing stuff. Him working out with Manu, Carter Bryant hyping his boy up. Oh, couldn't be more excited. Well, I could, because Dylan Harper could be playing tonight. But look, that's all right. We got to move on to the next thing, because this does implicate Dylan Harper a lot too. Now, if you watched my last video, I spoke a lot about how I knew the next move we were doing was bringing in a veteran third-string point guard. And sure enough, that is exactly what the Spurs did. But before we get into it, just want to remind you guys, 70% of you are still not subscribed. We're 4.5 minutes into this video, and if you're enjoying this, you're enjoying the daily Spurs content, hit that free subscribe button. We're trying to hit 10,000 before the season starts. You guys have been supporting like crazy. Thank you so much. Back to it, though. And last night, I was unfortunately not up to make a video on this, so we're making it today. Jordan McLaughlin has agreed to a 1-year, $3 $3 million deal to return to the Spurs. Now, I saw some mixed reactions to this, surprisingly. I saw some people, some Spurs accounts on Twitter being surprised that it was Jordan McLaughlin that we went out and actually chose to sign to bring back to the Spurs, and not maybe a better veteran point guard who's on the buyout market. I mean, we heard Westbrook's name floating around. There's a lot of other names out there. Chris Paul not coming back. I think we know that at this point, but yeah, still, I was surprised at this, but I want to dive into the truth behind this, because look, we all know this happened, right? But I want to dive into the deeper implications of this, because it does affect Dylan Harper a lot in multiple ways. So one, Jordan McLaughlin, like, we know what he brings. He played 18 games for us last year. He was part of that De'Aaron Fox trade. He came over from Sacramento after having a bunch of solid years with Minnesota, some very solid play for them, especially in his rookie season at the age of 23. Like, I really like him, and I think he's the perfect fit for end of the bench point guard role, right? And I think that's what it is. I mean, by all accounts, he's a fantastic presence to have in the locker room. He runs summer camps all the time. I think he's in the middle of one right now, actually. Just a couple days ago, he posted how his summer camp was up and going, and people love Jordan McLaughlin. His teammates love him. The community loves him. That is one big aspect of this, right? Which I really do love. But the other aspect is to just be insurance, right? And I understand if you're a team that wants to be competitive, you want to bring in all the competitive pieces that you can have. And Jordan McLaughlin, is he really the kind of guy that's going to play for you in a playoff run? Not necessarily, but by the way, I made this graphic. Let me know if you guys like it and any changes you'll make to it, because I understand some people might want to start Harrison Barnes over Devin Vassell. This is just my first draft, but let me know what you think of the look of it, because might tweak it, but I think it looks pretty cool if you ask me. Anyway, this is what I have as our depth chart, because frankly, I was sick of seeing this ESPN one because it's just so ridiculous, so I made my own, and I think it looks better. So right now, Jordan McLaughlin is slotted in as our third string point guard, and I think that makes all the sense in the world. But more than just being the third string point guard who can come in and alleviate some of those point guard minutes, I've used alleviate like 4 times in this video now. That's kind of weird. It's not a word I use that much, but he's insurance for Dylan Harper. But it tells me that the reason we didn't go get maybe a higher scoring or maybe a more prolific bench point guard than a Jordan McLaughlin is because we are really giving the reins to Dylan Harper. At least that's what it tells me. Because if you look at the guard depth right now, it's Fox, it's Castle, and it's Harper. Those are the 3 guys that can be primary ball handlers. In a pinch, you could do Devin Vassell. You could even do Jeremy Sochan, I suppose, for spot minutes. I mean, look, we tried him at the point guard before, and I know that's a bit overblown, that whole point Jeremy thing, but in spot minutes, it's not the craziest thing in the world. Plus, Victor Wembanyama can do whatever he wants. So with just Fox, Harper, and Castle being those guys, you did want another guy that in spot minutes could come in and handle the ball and just distribute and hit the occasional open 3. That's really all we needed from our third string point guard, especially if we want to give Dylan Harper a lot of run, which I do. I want to see Harper playing 20, 25, even more minutes a night if he's ready. Now, again, we still haven't seen him in Summer League against the pro-level competition. I believe in him. I think he's going to be amazing. I think there's no way he ends up struggling a lot at the NBA level. He will have his struggles, don't get me wrong. I just don't think he's going to be struggling so much that he can't stay on the floor. So this, to me, again, trading Wesley and Branham was indication number 1 that it's like, all right, Dylan Harper, this is your bench to run. Indication number 2, the point guard we're bringing in for the bench, we're spending $3 million on a solid veteran presence that can shoot the 3. And it's also continuity from last year to this year, right? A lot of these guys met Jordan McLaughlin. He was there 18 games with us. He's coming right back, right? He was there with De'Aaron Fox in Sacramento as well. So there's like that cohesiveness of like this team. You want to keep a lot of the guys from last year to this year. You trade a couple of young guys that you had for a while in favor of a Kelly Olynyk who really fills a specific role for this team, which is great. So then you also keep a guy who was here last year, learned the system, sticks around. So I don't know. To me, this is more than just like, hey, third string point guard. He also has the highest fourth quarter plus minus in losses last season. Yeah, this is a crazy stat. I just saw this looking up for Jordan McLaughlin stuff. Spurs Muse is awesome, of course, but just hilarious here that it's McLaughlin, Wesley, and Branham here, and what could have been a Spur, Rob Dillingham. Anyway, don't want to revisit that too much, but just kind of hilarious. But yeah, to me, the real truth behind this is giving Dylan Harper the entire runway to be great right away, right? Go for that back-to-back-to-back Rookie of the Year thing. Why not? Cooper Flagg, never heard of him. Well, I have, because Dylan Harper's playing against him. That joke didn't really land the way I wanted it to, but Most of my jokes don't. Some of them do. Some of them do. But Jordan McLaughlin represents more than just a third string point guard. He represents cohesiveness. He represents continuity from last year to this year, as much as we could do it as this Spurs organization. You know, we did have to get rid of some young guys, but it is a bit of continuity. It represents letting our young guy go out there and play great, and it represents bringing in a solid person, a guy who runs these camps, a guy who has a good locker room presence and can hit the three ball, do exactly the role that he would need to do as the third string point guard. To me, it makes a lot of sense. And I understand the wanting to get someone even better, but I think someone, especially if you're talking third string point guard, someone who fills the role to a T is better than, in a lot of cases, better than a guy who's a lot more talented that would be playing, you know, fewer minutes, that doesn't quite fit the role as well, because I think that contributes a lot more to ceiling raising rather than floor raising, right? If you have all the talent in the world here on the bench, it'll raise your floor. Like, you'll never be that bad. But if you're a great team and you just need these guys to fill specific roles, that's what I call a ceiling raiser move. And I think this is a very small, because it is a little insignificant, but I think it does matter, ceiling raising move in the addition of Jordan McLaughlin. But let me know your thoughts on it down below. Maybe you hate the signing. I'd love to hear from you, the positives, the negatives, all that stuff. But that'll do it for this episode of Spurs Digest. And if you enjoyed, hey, quick reminder to hit that free subscribe button. We're here every single day. Appreciate all the wonderful comments you guys have been leaving. The engagement has been crazy. And if you stuck around here to 11 minutes in, just, I don't know, leave a comment saying you made it all the way through. Leave some love for my boy Manu, some Dylan Harper love, all that great stuff. I've been your host, Josh Gosse, and I'll catch you in the next one.